5 SEC teams in the college football playoff. Who has the best path? The squad getting together to discuss right now.
You're talking ball with the SEC squad. From Alabama to Tennessee, from Georgia to Oklahoma, from Auburn to Texas, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming SEC weekend. It's the SEC squad, and we have a seat for you. Hurt feelings and thin skin are prohibited. Squad up, you're part of the SEC squad.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the SEC squad. Sit back, grab your favorite beverage as we join you to get you ready for another week talking all things SEC. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com. Place your NFL live bets all season long. Kind of a weird week because we don't have games. We got Army-Navy, and that's kind of it. So our first week without SEC action in quite a while. Let's welcome in our squad. We got Jay Smith from Locked On Sooners, Stephen Willis, Locked On Ole Miss, Corey Burton, Locked On Vandy, Jimmy Stein, Locked On Bama. I'm Chris Gordy from Locked On SEC. And guys, I like our group we have here because we've got 3 guys representing playoff teams. We got 1 guy representing the lone SEC Heisman representative. And luckily, nobody from Notre Dame. Good God, the tears from Notre Dame folks.
They were going to come, but they got scared and ran away.
Yeah, they quit.
It's time to opt out.
I know we're Locked On SEC, but what have you guys made of that? I mean, it absolutely taking your ball and going home, right?
It's the softest thing I've ever seen, Chris. It's unbelievable. Like, they had a chance to really match up with BYU or Vanderbilt and like create like a non-playoff game, playoff game matchup wise. It's just so soft, man. And I don't like it at all.
It's a terrible way to treat the seniors on your football team too. I mean, who had a chance to play in the jersey one more time and wear the helmet one more time. You're sort of crapping on them too.
Yeah, I typically don't really care about more of the opt-out type situations. It's like whatever. But in this scenario, like this was really just throwing a temper tantrum, which just really annoyed me. It's like, if you want to prove that you are so good and you deserve to have been in there, go beat the crap out of somebody in the bowl game. Mm-hmm. Really show us who you're made of. Because you're going to match up against a formidable opponent, possibly. And if you did, then, then we'd say less. We'd be like,
it was supposed to be BYU in the Pop-Tart Bowl, I think.
The thing that is making it so egregious and such poor sports and bad form and all of that is the fact that they're getting mad at the ACC for taking the side of a full ACC member over somebody that's just sticking their toe in the pond and wanting their NBC contract. Basically, they're not all in with the ACC, but the ACC is supposed to be all in with them. So,
yeah.
I saw their AD got very upset and was basically saying taking shots at the ACC, saying they tweeted out support for, which to me, like, okay, Miami is the full-fledged ACC member. Notre Dame is 1 foot in, 1 foot out, so they're supposed to get your back or the full-fledged member. I'm confused here.
Yeah,
right.
It's basically the mistress is getting mad at the husband for going home with the wife. That's what that is.
Hold on, let me follow that. Carry the
carry the 2 minus the 3. Yeah, that's about
the
right.
other part of it, guys, is
it's really tricky because we're talking about BYU involved in there too.
The Notre Dame athletic director saying the damage, it's created damage, and basically saying like, I don't know if we're going to be able to fix this. There are some folks that kind of were connecting some dots and saying, would Notre Dame look to maybe join a conference, but full time, but not the ACC? Could it be the Big 12? There were some people out there putting that. And then when he was asked, on Tuesday, did you talk to any of the other commissioners? Just one, Greg Sankey. So I ask you guys, would you want Pouty Baby Notre Dame in the SEC?
Yeah, we already have Texas, so why not?
I mean, if you're asking me now, sure. I guess. I don't know.
I don't see the SEC saying no if that actually happens.
No.
It would just be too much money at stake to say no. But I'm happy as is. Speaking for myself and my school, I'm happy as is. But I don't see how they would say no to all the money.
Yeah, the longstanding member of the SEC. You know, we've been here for so long, like forever, and I would not want to bring this type of crap into our conference. I mean, our conference has run so well in the years that we've been here. It's ridiculous to think that we need to bring in some pouty crybabies into a conference that, you know, has so much tradition and so rich for as long as we've been here. Like, why would we do this to ourselves?
Yes. Lifelong rivals between Oklahoma and Ole Miss. I mean,
right.
I mean, you're going to disrupt that?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yes.
I stand firmly against that.
I will say, though, the one thing of joining the SEC is you have to accept your role as you are one of 16. Texas had to say goodbye to the Longhorn Network. There were a lot of concessions that had to be made for first A&M in Missouri and then Texas and Oklahoma to come to the conference. Notre Dame having their own exclusive TV deal on NBC ain't going to fly. So that's where I think this thing gets down to. And look, we're just saying hypothetically the SEC, but whoever – Notre Dame is like they're going to have to play by the rules. You're going to have to, if you join a conference, you got one of a group.
And you know what? This might not be popular, but they have to come in pairs. So who would come if they said they wanted Notre Dame? I think it was Kansas. I think Kansas is the sneaky dark horse for the SEC the next time they expand.
Wow. Not NC or Clemson?
If they take 4, but if they take 2 and can only have 1, I think Kansas, and they think about pairing that up with Missouri and the other Big 12 members that have a little bit of history there.
What does Kansas football bring?
Not much, but Kansas basketball is a natural rival with Kentucky that would be must-see television every time
That's
they play.
True. And if you really think about it, South Bend to Lexington is closer than Norman is to Austin. So, and Nashville is not too far from South Bend as well. So, I mean, technically, you're not that far as proximity goes.
I think North Carolina is potentially a white whale for the SEC and that market, Charlotte. But the ACC has a new grant of rights deal. I don't know how possible it is to get an ACC team until 2030.
Yeah.
And we'll get to professional league. So yeah.
And it's going to be hilarious when it's not Clemson coming over and it's just North Carolina and Virginia. And everybody's like, what happened? It's like
Clemson's like, what? No, what about us?
Well, they always said if they were going to expand it again, it's about getting into states they're not in. That's why Virginia is attractive. That's why North Carolina is attractive. Clemson, they feel like they already have half of South Carolina with the Gamecocks. So I don't know. We'll see. Expansion talk. We'll have all offseason to talk about. Notre Dame kind of sidetracked us, but let's talk about the bracket guys and the teams that did make it. And we got several first-round games with SEC teams. James Madison will play Oregon, but then we have Miami versus Texas A&M, Tulane versus Ole Miss, and Alabama versus Oklahoma. An SEC team will be eliminated in the first round. But what do you guys make of the matchups for your respective teams?
I think Vandy's matchup in the play. Oh wait,
Vandy probably has the best bowl matchup. The Vandy Iowa matchup is legit.
That's going to be good. Yeah, Gronowski versus Pavia is actually a really good quarterback duel. But no, I like out of all the matchups that's most compelling. I like the Alabama Oklahoma rematch this time in Norman. I mean, it's going to be you have an Alabama team that hopefully for their sake can get healed up, and an Oklahoma offense that's struggling to find a rhythm. Maybe they can find that rhythm between now and that game, but it's going to be interesting. And the way this league goes, beating somebody a second time in the same season is always very, very difficult. So I'm very intrigued by this matchup for sure. Tulane Ole Miss rematch there. Not much there, but the winner gets Georgia. And so you got a rematch there in the second round. Miami A&M is going to be a sneaky good game. Carson Beck going into Kyle Field. A&M still not really battle tested. The only time they got shellacked by the Longhorns. So
Notre Dame doesn't count as battle tested?
They're soft.
Yeah.
Charmin. Just the Charmin Fighting Irish.
Yeah,
I give the Aggies credit for that. Come on.
A little something. But no, it's funny when you see the way the bracket shaped out. I think it's kind of funny how you can tell they purposely made it to where there was no chance the SEC could like go all the way out and see each other at the end. Yeah. They want to make sure they can get rid of SEC teams as early as possible. The Oklahoma-Alabama rematch, I mean, you could have easily thrown Miami there and put Bama, you know, I guess it would have been Texas A&M, which they haven't played each other this season. So that would have been a little bit more intriguing of a matchup. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you didn't want to do that. You wanted to make sure that you made Miami play Texas A&M, in which that's the Notre Dame Bowl, basically. Both teams beat them, so let's see who's better in the end, since they both beat Notre Dame earlier in the season. And then you make it to where Ole Miss definitely goes and plays Georgia right after their first round matchup against Tulane. So you kind of got it to where you want to make sure you get rid of as many SEC schools as early as possible. And I thought that was very intriguing.
Yeah, and go ahead, Steve.
It's interesting to me is with the rematches against Tulane and against Georgia, the game plan has already been built. Yeah, it's something to where without a head coach, if you were worried about not having a head coach, you're playing two opponents right off the bat where the game plan is already done, essentially, to where 70% of it has been run. So there's still 30% that they could put into the next game plan and make it work. And Georgia, hey, just real quick, Athens is not here to save you this time. And we're coming. And I tell you what, if Ole Miss plays Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, there's going to be 45,000 Ole Miss fans in that game.
That'll be an awesome environment. Yeah, I think 3 of the 4 first-round games are super intriguing. You know, the one that's not is James Madison, you know, losing by 50 probably to Oregon up in Eugene. But Tulane Ole Miss is interesting just in the sense that you're going to be comparing the Pete Golding-led Ole Miss team to what Ole Miss did against them originally with Lane. You know, there's some interest there. Miami, Texas A&M, interesting. Carson Beck making it to College Station before Georgia ever did. You know, I don't think Georgia ever played Texas A&M in College Station, even though A&M joined the league back in 2012. But Carson Beck's gotten there now. And, of course, the rematch between Alabama and Oklahoma, you know, bet the under. Both teams struggling on offense. Alabama, you know, beat up football team, but finally has what amounts to a bye week. You'll see a healthier Alabama team in Norman than you saw against Georgia in the SEC championship game.
Let's pause there.
Okay. Is it going to snow in the Oklahoma game?
It's not calling for that now. The early forecast was, but now it just looks like it's only going to be in the 30s and 40s and windy. So, you know, not bad.
Oklahoma weather, baby.
Getting a snow globe. Love it.
When we return, guys, I do want to dive a little bit more deeper into that matchup since we have Jimmy and Jay here. It's more squad talking more ball next. Hey, but first, I'm sure a lot of you guys this time of year are looking for a gift for your friends, significant other, family, whoever. The holidays are officially here, which means gift giving season is on us. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, how about Aura Frames, the gift that delivers every time? It's not just something you wrap. It's a way to share memories. Aura isn't your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before you gift it. So when they plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. Our guy Corey was saying he actually has one of these in his classroom and loves it. He's had it for a couple of years.
It's the first thing people comment on every time they walk into my room. It does not matter. Even if they've seen it, it does not matter. They say, wow, what is that? That is so cool. That is the greatest thing ever. And I'm like, yeah, it's an Aura frame. You can get it. AuraFrames.com, yeah.
I think I'm going to send Jay Smith one with just all Stephen Willis's face all over it. Just see how he reacts to that one. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by gifting Aura Frames, AURAFrames.com. Get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver mat frames, named #1 by Wirecutter. And you want to make sure you use our promo code COLLEGE at checkout. AURAFrames.com. Promo code COLLEGE. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast. So orders yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. SEC squad roll along here. And guys, let's get into a little bit more on this matchup. We do have our Oklahoma and Alabama host here. So, man, what an interesting game from a standpoint of we just saw it just a couple of weeks ago. And Jimmy, I frame it this way. Alabama's offense has not looked great the last couple of weeks. They're going to have to do something if they're going to win this game, and particularly not turn the ball over. And that's the problem, was we saw them turn the ball over against Oklahoma in Tuscaloosa. Now you're in Norman. So ball security going to be a premium here.
Yeah, no doubt Alabama's lost to Oklahoma twice in the last calendar year. Let's see if they can do it 3 times in 13 months. The first 2 games have been turnovers. I think Alabama's turned it over 6 times to Oklahoma's 1 turnover in those 2 games. So that's priority number 1 for Alabama. Number 2 is just getting healthy, not making excuses for Alabama for how bad the offense has been, but the quarterback's beat up. You had running back 1 and 3 out for Georgia. Ryan Williams been kind of dinged up all year. Jeremy Bernard missed the Auburn game, so that's 2 wide receivers. The starting tight end, Josh Cuevas, is out against Georgia. The left guard's out. The center got hurt against Auburn, and he's playing gimpy. He had his worst game in an Alabama uniform, playing on 1 foot. The question for Alabama is, can that team get healthier before they go play Oklahoma and then worry about the turnovers? I think that's the overarching theme for Alabama, is getting healthy, then eliminating the turnovers. You did lose to Oklahoma in Tuscaloosa, but it was a game that Alabama did a lot of good things. They outgained Oklahoma in the game about 412 to 212, somewhere around there. You did some good things. Ty Simpson threw for over 300 yards. So can you get back to being as healthy as you were against Oklahoma 3 or 4 weeks ago is the question. Because if so, I think Alabama's got a fighting chance, but the environment in Norman's going to be unbelievable. A playoff game at Oklahoma at night. It's going to be cold, but it's going to be a great TV show, and it'll pull a big number.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And for Oklahoma right now, it looks like our Mason Thomas will play most likely in that game. So he's been out for about 5 weeks. After the Tennessee game, he got hurt with, it seems like it's something with his quad, but they haven't played him in any of the games up to this point. And the expectation is by the time we get there, that will be a month and a half, a good 6 weeks. He is expected to be ready to play. And so we were lucky enough to pull out the victory and get the sacks and get the turnovers without our top edge rusher. Now he's going to be back. So, I know for Bama, the struggle is going to be those injuries, right? You unfortunately, for Bama, it's only a week and a half roughly of rest. Well, a week and 6 days since the game's on a Friday night. They don't get the 3 weeks that basically, or 2 weeks and 6 days that Oklahoma got to rest because they played in the SEC championship game. That's kind of like the unfortunate part about playing in the conference championship game is you do lose that 1 week and you have the possibility of having more injuries that pile up. And so the question is really going to be, how healthy is Bama going into this game? And if those injuries are going to be a hindrance, because losing that tight end, man, he was eating us alive. And for Oklahoma, it was Cuevas, who was like, all right, let him kind of have his stuff, but you got to make sure you minimize it. He cooked. If he's going to be kind of gimpy going into that game, that leads to an advantage for Oklahoma. And the one thing we've been concerned about has been truly the health of Mateer. It seems like he just mentally has not been right ever since that thumb and a pseudo knee injury. If these last few weeks, has he healed up and is he going to be out there playing with more awareness? We'll see, but yeah, it's going to be an intriguing matchup as a rematch, but being in Norman in the cold, it'll be 37 degrees. So you'll probably have a wind chill down in the 20s. It's going to be a very interesting environment, to say the least.
One thing that's interesting in this game that I'm going to pay attention to is the LSU game. There were actually 5 explosive passes in that game by Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And if you can get some explosive chunk plays against Alabama's defense, that's going to open some stuff up. But Oklahoma has to figure out a way to find somebody other than Satania to be that person that gets the explosive plays.
Yeah.
So is it going to be Deion Burks? How is it going to manifest itself? Because I do think Mateer is getting incrementally better each and every single week. I don't know if he's quite there yet, but that defense, is going to be extremely salty. And if Oklahoma takes care of the football, scores points, keeps it close, I like Oklahoma in this game.
Well, don't forget, Mateer had 3 bad interceptions in the LSU game too. So it's look, if he throws 3 interceptions in this one, I might be leaning Alabama.
Oh, same. I 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah.
The one thing you notice, though, in those interceptions, the one that was a tip pass that kind of just sucks, and Harold Perkins is a freaking mutant anyway. He finds a way to get to the ball regardless. But The other two, you started to notice that they started to increase the tempo. You start to see them try to get into a rhythm. And then he got a little bit, a little froggy. And that's the one thing I told Sooner fans going into the season, and I warned them on, is Mateer's going to turn the ball over. And the reason he turns the ball over is that he gets a little bit aggressive. He likes to try to throw it into some tight windows. Some of those tight windows lead to, a Deion Burks touchdown on a screen pass when you got an all-out blitz, a cover zero coming at your face. Or it's a pass that goes between three dudes and it lands right into LSU's lap for interception. So you kind of got to be careful with that. But it does, as Steven mentioned, it seems like his confidence is getting a little bit better week over week. He's throwing better passes, even though some of them do land in the opposing team's hands. Luckily, he has a defense that can help with fixing some of those. And they're not putting themselves – the only one that was almost detrimental was the one that Harold Perkins almost returned. And shout out to John Mateer. He had 2 tackles in the game. He actually hustled his butt over there and got the dude out. Right. He was one of the lead tacklers. And then the next play, Peyton Bowen intercepts it in the end zone to basically nullify that mistake. So we're hoping that that's what happens if we do make those mistakes. But truth be told, it's got to be a clean game because Bama's going to take advantage of any type of issues or any type of turnovers that we give them. So, but if he's feeling confident, let's go ahead and push it down the field more, please.
What do you guys?
Alabama and third and long all game is a recipe for disaster. Honestly, Alabama has to figure out how to run the ball in this game.
Well, but Oklahoma does too. I mean, they don't run the football well either.
Yeah, we haven't had healthy running backs, and it appears that Xavier Robinson and Torrey Blaylock the wear and tear on their body shouldn't be in red anymore. Should be more like a yellowish green through when we get to this game by the time. Because, like I said, it's been 2.5 weeks that they've been able to go through the treatments needed. X-Rob with the knee and Torrey Blaylock's shoulder and every other body part. So as long as they are at a better health in comparison to what they were going to Tuscaloosa, we should be able to see a little bit better on the run game in comparison. It's just they got to get healthy. They've got to not be able to plan and run and be able to get away from these Alabama defenders. So we're hoping for health because they've had extra weeks, and hopefully we'll see if that extra week, like I said, helps out.
Is Jam Miller going to be back, Jimmy?
Looks like it. I think Jam Miller is very likely to be back. I think Cuevas may very possibly be back. I think both offensive linemen will be healthy. Jeremy Bernard will be, 2 weeks healthier. I think the player you're most concerned about at Alabama, really, in terms of how close to 100% is Ty Simpson. Ty's certainly been beat up quite a bit. His numbers have fallen off pretty dramatically over the last 5 games, about midseason, probably about the second half of that Missouri game. I think things started changing for him a little bit. Now Ty's had some rest. Hey, when you've played, look who Alabama finished the season with: LSU and Blake Baker and that defense. Then Oklahoma, who I think is the best defense in the country. It's Oklahoma or Ohio State in terms of who's got the best defense in the sport. Venables in Oklahoma. Then you're at Auburn with DJ Durkin. They've only given up more than 24 points, I think, one time all year. I was to Corey's Vanderbilt team. That's the most points scored on Auburn all year. And then you finish in Atlanta against Georgia, Kirby Smart, Glenn Schumann, and that deep. No one's playing better defenses than Alabama in November. That's contributed to some of these issues that Alabama's had, no doubt. That level of competition, when you factor in that you're beat up as well, it's been an uphill climb. But Alabama needed this bye week hugely, and let's see if the bye week benefits them heading into Norman.
Where are you guys leaning right now? Are most of you kind of leaning Oklahoma because it's in Norman?
Yeah, I'm leaning with the home team right now, but for me, Oklahoma's just got to simplify their game plan a little bit and just let Mateer ease into the game. I think sometimes they come out and try to be too aggressive, and that leads to some problems. Give him some easy throws, give him some things he can complete, get in a rhythm, get some confidence, and maybe you can start moving the ball down the field a little bit. And of course, that defense just is, like Jimmy said, best in the country. I think they're best in the country.
Yeah. For me, I'm slightly leaning Oklahoma. Like going to Tuscaloosa, I said it would be a 2-point game. I was luckily right on the money at 23-21 in my prediction. This one I think is going to be around just as close, 21-20. I think it's going to be a 1-point game. I just think that it's just, I don't know until I know who's healthy on both sides. It's really hard for me to be able to take anything. So I'm going to take the home team in this one. I would take Oklahoma, but I need to see what does that injury report look like next Wednesday? That to me tells me everything I need to know.
Yeah, home team and the points right there.
Yeah.
Oklahoma has a tremendous place kicker. I think that's going to be huge in a close game. I feel a lot like Jay, 23-21, maybe just as close this time, but not as high scoring. That game may look high scoring compared to what could happen next time. But Tate Sandell, the Oklahoma kicker, could make a huge difference in a game like that. We'll see if it's windy and cold. Maybe that has an effect. But, I'll take Alabama in a close scoring game. If you can win a game 15-14, might happen. Other than Alabama making 5 field goals. I need to change that score.
I'll go 12-9. How about that? Maybe we just have a bunch of and they're all like 25-yard field goal kicks. It's like all short distance.
3-2 field goal
in honor of the Honey Badger, 9-6.
When we return, guys, we will get into a few of the other games right here on our Locked On SEC Squad show. Hey, but first, guys, NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. And by the way, they got all these college playoff games up there right now. We've been looking at a lot of the spreads throughout this week. The early lines, Alabama did open as a 2.5-point favorite against Oklahoma. A&M, a 3.5-point home favorite over Miami. Ole Miss, 17.5. That's a big number. They could win by 17, and that's still a Tulane cover. If you like any of those lines, you can get them over at FanDuel.com. And, of course, if you want to be right in the middle of the action throughout the NFL season, visit FanDuel.com. Place your live NFL bets all season long. With FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Our SEC Squad show rolling along here. And, guys, before we get back into it, I want to remind folks that we are the number one, Locked On is the number one sports podcast network out there. And, look, you already live your team every day. Now you can take it up a level and go ad-free. You can join our Everydayer Club today, and you can get any of our shows with no interruptions, members-only Discord access and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 for the year. All you got to do is look for your favorite show. Type Locked On Bama.supercast.com, Locked On SEC.supercast.com. Whatever your favorite team is, that is the website to go check that out today. Stephen, we kind of glanced over it in the first segment, but Tulane, Ole Miss. I've had a few people tell me that they think Tulane is going to play a little bit better this time around. They had a little bit more momentum going towards the back end of the season, winning the AAC. They said they think we're going to see a better Tulane team. Do you think we'll see a better Tulane team in this one?
I think so. I think you're going to see a much better effort by the Tulane Green Wave. Now, I still think it's going to be somewhere around 31-17, 34-17. I think Tulane may cover that number. I think that line's a little bit too high. But I think that Tulane has a line of scrimmage problem in this game particularly, and they don't have the defensive line and the offensive line, which means good luck stopping Kejuan Lacey, good luck stopping Trinidad Chambliss consistently, and all of the weapons can kind of get going. But I do think they're going to do a better job offensively, because the first time these teams met, it was 45-3 with like 4 minutes to go in the game, and it wasn't that close. I mean, it was one of those things that Ole Miss just suffocated them. But I do not think that's going to happen this time, and I think it's going to be a thumbs up and a good job and an attaboy, I guess you could say, to Tulane for that over anything that's happening with Ole Miss.
Do you think it gets off to a hot start, Steve, or is it one of those because Ole Miss went through so much change with the coaching staff and so much drama and exhaustion? Do you think it starts a little bit slow and then they wake up and kind of pull away and separate, or?
I think they're literally going to come out with their hair on fire. I talked to people at their first practice today, and they said the energy was twice of that for anything they've had for the last 6 weeks at practice. I mean, the team's really jacked up for everything that's going on. They seem to have basically their feet in the ground. We talked about that earlier.
10 toes.
The 10 toes down, spot the ball, any catchphrase that you're looking to say, that they are ready for this, and they understand this is the biggest sporting event in the history of the state of Mississippi. and they are all keenly aware of that.
Jay, Jimmy, does the absence of Lane Kiffin scare you at all?
I would worry a little bit for Ole Miss if Pete is tied up at his hot yoga class before, Pete might be playing pickleball and not. I think Ole Miss is going to play extremely well. I think Pete's popular on the team. He recruited probably most of the team. Most of the roster is probably recruited by Pete Golding. They like him a lot. I'm sure that was very popular. I think Ole Miss wins big, even bigger than Steven thinks, kind of for Pete. Then you really find out the next time they line up against Georgia, really where they are with this new makeshift staff in place.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that as well. I think that John Summerall is going to be a lot more conflicted and more kind of like mind in multiple places because he has another job that he's leaving to, whereas Ole Miss is actually really building their foundation of the people that are really there are the ones that's going to stay, besides, like Charlie Weiss Jr. coming back to help, but he ain't got to do much searching or work really for the LSU side. That's all Lane Kiffin going to do everything over there. So his focal point is taking care of his players and getting the W. So I think that Ole Miss should go out there and just really cook them like badly. Like I like Tulane, but I just don't feel like that coaching staff is going to be as locked in as Ole Miss's will be.
I think like 42-10 Ole Miss.
Yeah, me too.
Jay, you brought up the point about John Summerall being distracted, doing two jobs at once. Like, I think that has potential to really separate that number more so than anything else, because you have a distracted John Summerall. They're already outmatched. You got what Steve just said about how jacked up the team is and how great the practices are. Like, usually that's a hyper-focused team that's trying to prove a point with a chip on their shoulder. And that's a recipe for a blowout. I don't know how that will carry out throughout the rest of the playoff run, but it'll certainly get them comfortably through round one, I think.
And I will say this game has a chance to be an elite college football playoff worthy uniform game.
Oh, yeah, totally.
This is going to be gorgeous. I think Ole Miss is wearing the powder blue helmets, red jerseys, gray pants, I think. And then Tulane's going to do their I think it has a chance to be really good looking.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun jersey setup. The helmets, the jersey, it's going to be beautiful. I am here to see that out there in Oxford. I'm going to be excited tuning into that.
It feels like it's easy. It's an easy spot, right? You're playing at home, rally the fans, rally your team. Like, if Ole Miss was having to go to Oregon, I think we'd be a little bit concerned, right? Oh God, is this gonna? But it's an easy spot for them to rally everybody around. But Jimmy's right. You win this one, then it's about, all right, Georgia's our next problem. Can we deal with that again? So we'll be fascinating to see. Last one, do want to spend a couple minutes here on Miami A&M. I was in College Station over the weekend, guys, and everywhere you go around that town, everyone is absolutely fired up. They are still talking about the loss to Texas. Pissed off, going, they ruined our perfect season. I think Miami has got, it's an 11 a.m. game. I think it's going to feel like an 8 p.m. game at Kyle Field. That fan base is going to be rocking. And we joked on the show the other day, I think Carson Beck over under interceptions, I'm putting at 2.5. I think he's going to be a turnover machine.
Yeah, and Carson Beck's never played at Texas A&M because we all know that Georgia's not allowed to play there. Ever. So Carson Beck has never seen Kyle Field and
crazy.
Yes, and Texas A&M's never been to Kentucky. That's the other side of that.
It's so too big. The conferences are getting too big. It really are, and that just ruins the ability for teams to be able to go. They need to have synced each other in this entire time.
This is the SEC statement game. This is the SEC statement game. How good is the SEC? I think, in terms of league-wide, there should be a ton of interest in this. And I think Texas A&M has a great chance to make a statement for the league about how good the league is, or you lose to an ACC team, the conference everyone was sort of poking fun at down the stretch.
Yeah, this is a bad matchup, or a bad bracket set up for Ohio State, because both Miami and Texas A&M, they have the talent ratio to deal with Ohio State in the next round.
And you got Ohio State, who, again, the distracted coaches theory, like, we're going to see that to the test with Brian Hartline as he's taking the head coaching job at South Florida. Like, how much is his head into this playoff run versus recruiting for the Bulls? So that, that's a factor, and that's got to be a factor. And then, going back to the original matchup, A&M versus Miami, their defense is certainly going to be able to help them out and get pressure on Carson Beck and force some of those throws. I love the over on the 2.5. But for Marcel Reed, he's got to figure out a way to settle down when pressure is on him. When things are going haywire around him, he's got to be able to settle down, make the right throws, take care of the football, and help A&M just be calm and start smoother and faster in their games where they're not getting behind. Like I could see Miami jumping up 17 points and then A&M having to fight all the way back.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody feel like A&M, or if you had to pick one right now, would you be leaning A&M?
I like A&M. They're going to get a defensive touchdown off Carson Beck.
Yeah, I'm in that boat too.
A&M,
the home team.
Mm-hmm.
Before we wrap up, Corey, give me your best pitch. Well, I mean, one, it's got to be exciting to see Diego Pavia going to New York. I said all season long, I don't know if he'll win it, but I think he deserves an invitation. He's the SEC's lone invitee this year. And I've talked to some people that feel like he's got a chance. I know the Vegas odds shifted heavily to Fernando Mendoza, but he's still right there, kind of hanging around as the second best odds.
It's not a slam dunk, honestly. But I mean, statistically, he has the big time edge in the rushing stats. I think total yards, he has the advantage there with over 4,000 total yards. He led Vanderbilt to 10 wins coming off a bowl season, which when he got there, Vanderbilt was coming off a 2-10 dreadful season where they lost half their roster. He's built that thing into what a lot of people said should have been a playoff team. He led that all the way. Mendoza jumped onto a playoff team, so you have to consider that as well. I mean, Mendoza obviously has more passing touchdowns than Diego Pavia, but Diego Pavia leads him in yards. Diego Pavia also did that against a much more difficult schedule in the SEC. The most recent thing with the Big Ten championship, you do have that recency bias where Mendoza played hurt. The story, like he got demolished on the first series, played hurt, made that throw to seal the game, and everyone's Mendoza. But if you look at the whole body of work, you put on the tape, you pull up those numbers, and you look at Diego Pavia, and it's hard to imagine him not hoisting that Heisman Trophy because of what he did at Vanderbilt, winning 10 games, best season in program history as far as wins and losses. You have to that has to count for something, right?
Yeah, I'd vote for Pavia and draft Mendoza #1. They can split that, but I'd vote for Pavia.
Yeah, Mendoza completed a fade pass, Corey. You can't compete with that.
No, I mean, it's unbelievable. But, I mean, just everyone was like, oh, my God, that's his Heisman moment.
Yeah.
He's in the game against Ohio State. I was like, what are we?
It's like you completed a fade. Okay, yeah, it's
a fade route to a slot receiver and Charlie Becker. I mean, Charlie Becker's good. Charlie Becker's a Nashville kid, by the way. It's I don't know. Like, Mendoza's great. And this is going to be one of the most tightly contested runs of a Heisman voting in a long time. And, Pavia and Mendoza may win. But I think Pavia honestly has a legitimate shot, probably should win. If you look at the numbers, you look at the tape, you look at everything that's happened around this Vanderbilt team. I know the everybody's going to point to the 2 losses. It's going to be in the comments right now. Everyone's on the 2 losses. Oh, well, they lost 2 games. Shouldn't have lost to Alabama. Shouldn't have lost to Texas. So whatever. Yeah. But he put up the numbers down the stretch. He had a better 4-game stretch than Mendoza had a 5-game stretch.
No one's done more for his team. No one's done more for his team. No doubt about that.
No one's done more to help Theo Vaughn's career, too. I'd like to see him at the Heisman ceremony, walk up there with him.
And he played matchmaker with Theo and his mom. So it's all good.
One thing I will say this. If an SEC team is not able to win it this year, I am going to be rooting full-throated for Oklahoma just so we can stop hearing about blue chip ratio.
Well, the other part, too, is, I mean, it's the SEC stuff is a little bit overrated, but the SEC has been so trashed the last 2 years. I think you're going to have some teams look, Texas fans are going to root for Oklahoma, but if Georgia and everybody gets, like, let's say Oklahoma's playing for a championship, I think you're going to have some SEC brethren going, you know what? Go beat Ohio State's ass. Let's get a little bit of pride back here.
Ole Miss is America's team this year. Everybody's going to be rooting for Ole Miss, except for Baton Rouge.
It's all because of Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin will be rooting for him. He's like, go get him, guys. He wants
He wants that check.
What
That's
is
why.
the deal? Yeah, LSU
LSU
paying a
bonus.
bonus over something that Ole Miss is doing. That is the weirdest contract clause I've ever heard.
It's great.
Whatever it took to get him, that's what they would say.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely suspending my normal, like, I'm not rooting for any SEC teams. Like, it's all good. Like, I'm gonna root for my team and that's it. I'm suspending that because of how people have been like, oh, it's Big Ten superior, Big Ten reigns supreme, Big Ten this, Big Ten that. They're gonna win it all again. They're gonna dominate again. And
God help us if they win a third straight. I think we're all good. I mean, just turn off your mentions. I don't want to hear any of that. But
yeah,
what the committee did to Ohio State by just dropping them to 2, even though they didn't win a conference, and putting them over the SEC champion is some of the biggest disrespect I've seen, especially for a conference that has won what 15
Kirby,
in the last 20.
Yeah, Georgia should have been 2.
Kirby, did you hear that? It's the biggest disrespect ever.
They had him thinking in the TCU game that people were saying that Georgia was going to win 7 games that year. It is like, what? You were preseason number 1.
Yeah.
Oh, he can spin. He's a spin doctor. I love
it. There was one blogger or tweeter, but he found him. Let's leave it there, guys. Appreciate you guys for hopping on. Appreciate all you guys for watching or listening to us. Thank you for tuning into the Locked On SEC Squad Show. Make sure you subscribe and follow whichever your favorite SEC team is. Get all the latest episodes. And hey, did Locked On make your Spotify Wrapped? You can prove it on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. All you got to do is tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform, and we'll drop you a code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel. For Jay Smith, Stephen Willis, Jimmy Stein, Corey Burton, I'm Chris Gordy. Locked On SEC Squad. We'll talk to you next week.
Go Navy.
Boomer sooner.
Go Navy.
You like the new hashtags? They're pretty awesome.